Mark.
Ryan?
It's good to see you, man.
Good to see you too.
How you doing?
Good.
Well, I'm right here with Mark Hairston of
Texas Mortgage Source.
Texas Mortgage Source, and you are a
mortgage broker.
He's a mortgage broker. Residential mortgage broker. So he will get your loan together when you need it to buy a house or to refi.
Right on.
And this is Ryan Morris from eXp Realty, and this is another edition of Community Connection where I bring the Austin community to you. And so today with Mark, we're going to talk about some of the ins and outs of mortgage brokerage, some things you might not know about, some things you may not have heard about. Some people out there, you may know tons of things about mortgage, some people may know nothing. Anyway, so what makes your brokerage and you different?
Well, first of all, welcome to the neighborhood.
Thank you.
We're down in Clarksville.
Oh yeah,
which
that's
is
right.
a little outside of downtown.
Right,
so
that's true.
I just moved my office here. I'm very excited about it.
Right. Well, it's a good location. You're right across from Cipollina, Fresh Plus. You got
Jeffries
down the street.
That's right. All sorts of good stuff.
Shed Nursery, right?
Shed Nursery on the corner of 12 and Lamar. So
anything
very
you
convenient.
need. Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna lift this up so I don't look like I'm realizing on the camera here. I'm like, okay, there you go. It's a very low chair, or I'm very short. I don't know. Right now I feel like we're just sort of like about the same height here. Anyway, so
well, my background, Ryan, as you know, is 35 years in this local market as a lender, as a mortgage lender, loan officer. And I've recently, in the last, this year actually, got my own brokerage company approved by the state and by basically the federal government to be in business to represent home buyers and people refinancing property or building homes or whatnot. So our model is a little bit different in the sense that as a broker, we actually represent the client. I don't represent one bank or one credit union or one mortgage company. I represent the borrower and lots of different lenders around the country to find the ideal and best option for my borrower, for my client, as far as rates and terms. Okay, so that's what I do.
Gotcha. And talk to me a little bit about how those rates and terms intersect.
Well, what a lot of folks don't understand is when they get a mortgage, typically, usually 7 or 8, about 80% of the people out there need to get a mortgage to buy a house. Okay,
Right.
They can't pay cash. But they don't look at it as a financial tool. They just look at it as a means to an end. So they want the house, and they have to go through this process to get the money. But they don't look at it, in my opinion, most people don't look at it as a financial tool to save. They don't know how to save money when shopping for a mortgage. They don't know how to shop for a mortgage, basically.
Right.
So, when I got the mortgage business in 1985, our average loan amount was $70,000. Now it's $400,000 on average. So people are leaving lots and lots of money on the table. So I'm an educator. My mission statement that I put on my business card is to empower the consumer on how to shop for mortgages through education and competition. So I believe in competition, and people should be educated when they're going out to borrow $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 on how to best structure that loan for their personal family needs, short-term and long-term. What's a loan look like at closing, but how's it going to serve you down the road too? So that's what we do. We're sort of mortgage planners.
Got it. And so if somebody's coming to you for a loan, are you usually do people usually talk to one lender? Do they talk to 5 lenders? And if so, do you find out that you're winning that sort of competition?
Yeah.
More often than not.
Generally speaking, I'm probably the only mortgage person I know, and I've been in this a long time, having closed several thousand transactions, that actually proactively teaches the borrowers how to shop for a loan. I wrote a consumer guide called The Truth in Lending. In The Truth in Lending, I explain, kind of pull back the curtains on the mortgage industry and how it really works behind the scenes. People don't have any idea. There's sort of this mystery on how the industry works. So I pull back the curtains a little bit, and not to expose my competition, but to basically share as truthfully as possible on the different channels of loans, how we make our money. Okay, we talk about how to negotiate, what questions to ask if you're going to be shopping around. Because again, it's a big investment. For most people, it's the largest investment they ever make, is their home.
Right.
And so we want to make sure they do it right, and hopefully I'll earn their business that way.
That's excellent. So I know we haven't talked about this. I don't put you on the spot. However, do you think if people were interested watching out there that they might be able to get a copy of your Truth in Lending?
Absolutely. I'd be happy to email it to them. My email is very simple. It's just my name, Mark, at markhairston.com. So we keep things very simple around here.
Yeah.
We are kind of a boutique company.
Yeah.
We're not a large company. You're going to deal with me as your mortgage professional. I do have a team that works with me to process loans and to get loans closed. But we're very hands-on. We're kind of old school, old-fashioned, if you will. We do always have all the technology, but we're very consumer-centric, where we want to meet with people and talk about things and make sure that they're very clear about what they're getting into.
That's true. Well, and I do appreciate that, because it is rare that you'll find where you walk into a well-known mortgage brokerage and you're working with the top of the what do I would say, the top of the organization, rather than someone who's been in maybe 2 years, 3 years. No offense to them, obviously. However, when you're coming in and you're getting 35 years of experience, you're going to it's going to be a different experience.
I think so. I mean, we're not a call center. The internet has been a big player in the mortgage industry over the last 10 years for sure. Mm-hmm. And these companies like Quicken Loans and some others do a great job of advertising their services. But then you're going to end up in a call center in Detroit or Kansas City or somewhere.
Right. So that was almost like if someone would go to like the regular, like Zillow or something like that on the real estate side.
Absolutely. Same
analogy. Some random person, they're going to get put in a box and get called from 80 different agents.
Right.
And hounded and things like that.
Yeah. So our business model is much different. It's very hands-on. It's very educational. It's very competitive, because as a broker, I'm able to shop all over the country with a variety of lenders to the profile of the borrower. And every borrower is a little different. They're kind of like a fingerprint or a snowflake or whatever. They're all a little bit different. So we take those nuances and we send it out, and people basically bid on those clients to do loans.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because that is some of the mystery that I hear from people, of sort of like that bridge between, it's like, well, you're a broker, but where are you getting the money? And so maybe would you explain a little bit how you go out to different lenders to actually get those loans?
Yeah. Well, first of all, after the crash of 2008 to 2010, the government stepped in to bail out the industry because it was basically broke.
Right.
And so they came up with a lot of regulations on trying to get rid of brokers. So they made it very difficult to be in business as a broker these days. Now, I've been approved by both the U.S. government, if you will, and the state of Texas to be a broker. What that allows me to do is to align myself with lots of institutional, what we call lenders or investors, to offer conventional financing, FHA loans, VA loans, USDA loans, but at a deep discount. It's called wholesale lending as opposed to retail. It's like going to the mall and buying retail off the shelf versus a wholesale or discount. I don't discount the service, but our rates and our fees and terms are going to be much more competitive than you can go to a bank or to a mortgage company.
Interesting. Yeah. And remind me how is that possible with what you're doing?
Well, it's basically because of if you will, profit.
Okay.
The higher the rate a lender charges, the more money they make.
I see.
Okay, so a lot of these companies have huge staff, huge overhead, and their rates are going to be usually a quarter to 3/8 higher on the interest rate than I can provide, because they have to pay a big office, pay staff.
Right.
Where my operation is very thin, very lean, if you will. So we're definitely a for-profit company. We make money, we make a living at it.
Of course.
But our rates, we're passing on those savings to the consumer. Okay. Bottom line.
Right.
And I'm a consumer too. I mean, my wife and I bought a car over the Christmas time, and we wanted the best deal on the car. We wanted the best deal on the loan, and that's what we negotiated.
Right.
I don't know anything about the car business.
Right.
Nobody's teaching me how to do that.
Yeah.
And I may have not got the best deal.
Right.
But what my goal is to educate the borrower on a home loan on how for them to get the best program for their family.
Right. Right. And I guess, and if you're not the right place or the right source for the loan, or for that particular person's loan, would you have you ever told someone that?
Absolutely. I did, matter of fact, yesterday. Because one of the things we don't do is we don't do down payment assistance programs.
Okay.
Some places do. There's pros and cons to that. And I had a young couple for first-time buyers. And I said, if you come to me, I can get you, let's say, 3%. The state bond program is around 4.5%. But they don't have a down payment. So I said, I'm not the best source. Here's a recommendation for you.
Gotcha.
Okay, and I think it's going to work out really well for both parties. It's a win-win.
Right.
I step out of the transaction, but I do want to be a consultant to them. I said, if you got any questions, feel free to call me. I'll help you the best I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's great, because I mean, I know that, it's hard to be a one-stop shop for everything under the sun.
Absolutely.
So to be able to say, if you come to me and it's not a good fit, I'm going to be honest with you. I'll tell you why. I'm not kicking you out. I'm just saying that maybe your loan will be better served somewhere else.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
And that happens, I wouldn't say frequently so much, but it certainly does happen. And like we don't do land loans, as an example. And somebody would need a young man call me to buy an acre out in Lockhart. I can't help him. But I know a banker in Lockhart. I said, well, call Jim. And I gave him the number. I think it's going to work out.
That's great. That's great. So it sounds like you're providing a lot of value to your clients, as opposed to, just that perfect intersection of service and cost.
Yeah.
So do you think, it sounds like from what I'm saying, like you stand by your value statement.
Sure.
And so which is great. And so what is something else maybe that the people out there might not know about the loan industry that might be surprising to them?
Well, I think they'd be surprised on basically how lenders make money, because there's a whole behind the scenes thing about profit. There's nothing wrong with profit, but I don't try to play a shell game with people. I explain to them, this is how it really works.
Right.
Okay. And again, I want them to think about the mortgage as a financial tool, like they would an investment, if you will. I mean, I could literally, in some cases, save you thousands of dollars. We're not talking about hundreds of dollars, we're talking about thousands of dollars. So I want people to think differently about what they're getting into, because most of people don't. They just want that house, and they'll go online or they'll go with any recommendation to get a mortgage. Well, there's more to it than that. So I'm really into the education standpoint.
And so, I mean, and it's really important also to work obviously with the realtor and make sure that sometimes people make sure that they understand the financial risks and burdens they're taking on with that mortgage, and make sure it's even the right time for them to buy.
I've actually had this conversation before, where in Texas, under the real estate laws, you are licensed as a fiduciary to your customer.
Correct.
Which means that their interest
client.
That their interest is above your interest.
Right.
Okay. Another thing they don't understand is mortgage loan officers are not licensed in Texas as fiduciaries. They represent the bank and the mortgage company. They don't represent them. So there's this this gap, if you will, between what our responsibilities are, not so much morally or ethically, but or not even legally, but on some level, you want to make sure somebody's looking after your best interest. That's my opinion. That's just my philosophy.
Yeah, right. And so you're saying that you're able to do that.
I'm able to do that because I represent the client. I don't represent one company.
I see. Because you're out shopping for different companies, you don't represent them, you're finding the right deal for the client.
Absolutely.
Okay, excellent.
And we put that in writing.
Wow. No kidding, in writing.
Absolutely.
Wow.
That's an agreement we'll make with our clients.
Okay. I didn't even know that. I didn't even lead him to that. I didn't know that. I'm literally impressed. So I think, thanks so much for talking with me today.
Well, you're welcome, man.
Really interesting. And also, so remember, if you want to get a copy of The Truth in Lending, You can either reach out to me directly on whichever, if this is Facebook or Instagram, whatever you're seeing this on, just contact me directly, Ryan Morris Realtor, eXp Realty, or you can reach out to Mark directly at
Mark Hairston, Mark at markhairston.com, or 512-789-6967 is my cell number.
Excellent. Well, once again,
All right,
thanks so much,
buddy.
Mark.
Thanks for coming by.
Appreciate it. Absolutely.
Take care.